Before you head to Asda this week, you need to watch this. What if I told you there are certain products at Asda that employees themselves avoid buying, and they have very good reasons why? I'm talking about items with food safety issues so bad that Asda got fined £250,000, products that get recalled constantly for mislabeling, and foods that have been sitting past their use-by date despite repeated warnings from inspectors. If you're over 60, this hits even harder. Your immune system isn't what it used to be. One bad product, one contaminated item, and you could end up in the hospital. I'm counting down 12 Asda products that employees say you should never buy, from packaging mistakes that could kill you if you have allergies to quality control failures that put you at serious risk. Stay with me, because number 4 involves food aimed specifically at children that was found weeks past its expiration date. Number 12. Asda Extra Special Taleggio Cheese. This one's about contamination that could kill you. Asda's Extra Special Taleggio cheese got recalled because it was contaminated with Listeria monocytogenes. Yeah, you heard that right. Listeria, one of the most dangerous foodborne bacteria out there. For most people, Listeria causes flu-like symptoms. High temperature, muscle aches, chills, nausea, diarrhea. Sounds unpleasant but manageable, right? But here's where it gets serious. In rare cases, it can cause meningitis. And some people are way more vulnerable to Listeria infections than others. Who's most at risk? People over 65, pregnant women and their unborn babies, anyone with a weakened immune system, anyone taking medications that suppress immunity, which includes a lot of seniors dealing with arthritis, cancer, or autoimmune conditions. So if you're a senior, this bacteria could do real damage. Your immune system isn't fighting off infections like it used to. What might make a younger person sick for a few days could put you in the hospital for weeks. In severe cases, Listeria can cause sepsis or brain infections that are fatal. Employees know that cheese products, especially soft cheeses like Taleggio, are high-risk items. They require careful temperature control throughout the entire supply chain. They need to be rotated properly on shelves. The cold chain can't be broken even for a few minutes, or bacteria start multiplying fast. And when a company like Asda is under financial pressure, cutting staff and dealing with system failures, that's when mistakes happen. Delivery trucks sit too long, warehouse temperatures fluctuate, store fridges don't get checked as often as they should. The recall notice went out, but how many people had already bought and eaten that cheese before the contamination was discovered? That's the scary part. You don't know if the product you're buying today is the one that will get recalled tomorrow. By the time you hear about it on the news, you've already eaten it. You're already sick. Number 11. Asda Frozen Crispy Hash Browns. Number 11 is about a packaging mistake that could have been deadly, and it shows you just how broken their quality control really is. Asda recalled its frozen crispy hash browns because some packs were mispacked with potato croquettes instead. Sounds harmless, right? Just a simple mix-up? Wrong. Those potato croquettes contained milk and wheat, which are major allergens. And none of that was mentioned on the hash browns label. Zero warning. Nothing. Think about what that means for a second. If you have a milk allergy or celiac disease, if you can't eat gluten, you grab a pack of hash browns thinking you're safe. You read the label. No milk, no wheat. Perfect. You cook them up. You eat them. And suddenly you're having an allergic reaction because Asda put the wrong product in the wrong package. For seniors with food allergies or intolerances, this isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Your body might not recover from an allergic reaction the way a younger person's would. Your heart, already under strain, has to deal with the stress of histamine flooding your system. Your breathing, already compromised by age, gets even worse if your airways start swelling. And if you're alone when it happens, if you don't have someone there to call 999, if your EpiPen is expired, or you don't have one at all, this kind of mistake could kill you. Employees say packaging errors like this happen more often than customers realize. When you're rushing to meet quotas, when staff is stretched thin, when the pressure is on to get products out the door fast, mistakes get made. Someone grabs the wrong box on the production line. The barcode scanner doesn't catch it because it's looking for a different product code. And suddenly you've got croquettes in hash brown bags, and you're the one who pays the price. Not the executive who cut staffing levels, not the manager who pushed for faster production speeds. You. Number 10. Asda Sliced Hot and Spicy Chicken Breast. Asda recalled its sliced, hot and spicy chicken breast because it was packed with the incorrect use-by date. The label said one thing, but the actual date was completely different meaning the product could have been unsafe to eat days or even weeks before you thought it expired. Use-by dates aren't suggestions. They're not best before recommendations. They're safety markers based on testing that shows when bacteria levels become dangerous. When chicken is past its use-by date, it becomes a breeding ground for bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli, and eating that chicken can make you seriously sick. This recall came right after Asda got fined £410,000 for selling expired food at 2 stores in Cornwall. Inspectors found 62 out-of-date products during that inspection. 62, including children's yogurts that were almost 4 weeks past their expiration date. 4 weeks past expiration. Still on the shelves, still available for customers to buy. Let that sink in for a second. These weren't products that just hit their expiration date yesterday. These were items that should have been thrown away a month ago, and they were still sitting there in the chilled section, waiting for someone to grab them. Employees say this happens because of system failures at multiple levels. The date printing machines malfunction and nobody notices. Staff doesn't catch the errors because they're understaffed and overworked and rushing to get stock on shelves before their shift ends. Products that should have been pulled days ago just sit there because there's no proper inventory management system flagging them. For seniors, eating expired chicken isn't just unpleasant. It can lead to severe dehydration that requires IV fluids in hospital. It can cause infections in your digestive tract that take weeks to clear up. It can trigger complications with existing health conditions like diabetes or kidney disease. And when you can't even trust the date printed on the label, when you can't rely on that basic piece of information, how are you supposed to know what's safe to eat? Number 9. Asda Chicken. Dinner's ready meal. This is another packaging disaster that shows their quality control is completely broken. Asda recalled their chicken dinner's ready meal because some packs actually contained beef dinners instead. Completely different meals. And the beef dinners had barley, egg, and milk in them, none of which were listed on the chicken dinner label. This isn't just mislabeling, it's 3 separate allergens that could trigger serious reactions. 3 chances to hurt someone. If you have celiac disease and you eat barley, your immune system attacks your small intestine. The damage can take months to heal. If you're allergic to eggs or milk and you eat those proteins, you could go into anaphylactic shock. Your blood pressure drops, your airways close. Without immediate treatment, you die. This isn't a small oops. This is a major quality control failure that could have killed someone. And it's not an isolated incident. It's part of a pattern of packaging errors at Asda that keeps happening over and over again. Employees say ready meals are notorious for packaging mix-ups because of how they're produced. The production lines are fast. Multiple different meals are made in the same facility using the same equipment. And when someone grabs the wrong packaging film, or the machines aren't calibrated right, or the quality checker misses something because they're checking hundreds of units per hour, you end up with the wrong food in the wrong box. For seniors who rely on ready meals because cooking is getting harder, because standing at the stove makes your back hurt, because your arthritis makes chopping vegetables painful, these mistakes are terrifying. You're trusting that what's on the label matches what's in the package. You're trusting that the company checked. You're trusting that someone cares enough to get it right. And with Asda, that trust keeps getting broken. One packaging error after another. One recall after another. One fine after another. How many times does this have to happen before you realize there's a systemic problem? Before you understand that this company isn't prioritizing your safety? Number 8. Asda Succulent Cooked and Peeled King Prawns. If you love seafood, pay attention because this one concerns you. Asda recalled its succulent cooked and peeled king prawns because of a labeling error showing an incorrect use-by date. The prawns looked fine sitting there on the shelf. The packaging looked normal, but the date was wrong, making them potentially unsafe to eat. Prawns are highly perishable. They're one of the riskiest seafood products you can buy because they go bad fast. When they spoil, they're not just unpleasant, they're dangerous. Seafood poisoning is no joke. It causes severe vomiting that leaves you dehydrated, diarrhea that doesn't stop, stomach cramps so intense you can barely move. And in serious cases, especially with certain types of bacterial contamination, it can lead to nerve damage or paralysis from toxins that accumulate in the flesh. For seniors with heart conditions, with blood pressure issues, with compromised digestive systems, seafood poisoning can be life-threatening. The dehydration alone can trigger heart arrhythmias. The electrolyte imbalance can cause confusion and falls. The stress on your kidneys can push you into acute kidney failure if you're already dealing with reduced kidney function. Employees say seafood is one of the riskiest categories in the entire store because it requires strict temperature control and fast turnover. If the cold chain gets broken anywhere, from the fishing boat to the processing plant, to the delivery truck, to the store fridge, that seafood becomes unsafe. And you can't tell by looking at it or smelling it until it's too late. With Asda's recent logistics failures, including a ransomware attack on their supply chain provider in November 2024, there are serious questions about whether temperature controls are being maintained properly throughout their system. When your warehouse computers are down, when your logistics tracking isn't working, when your delivery schedules are disrupted, cold chain integrity becomes impossible to guarantee. When your supply chain is under cyber attack, when your warehouse systems are compromised, when dates are getting printed wrong because machines are malfunctioning, you're gambling every single time you buy seafood from them. Number 7. Asda Extra Special Sea Salt and Chardonnay Wine Vinegar Hand-Cooked Crisps. This is about allergen labeling that keeps failing, and it's happening with their premium products that cost more. Asda recalled their Extra Special Sea Salt and Chardonnay Wine Vinegar Hand-Cooked Crisps because some packs contained cheese and onion crisps instead, and those had milk in them, which wasn't mentioned anywhere on the sea salt label. If you're lactose intolerant or allergic to milk, this could have caused a serious reaction. Stomach cramps, bloating, diarrhea at a minimum, anaphylaxis in severe cases. And the thing is, this isn't the first time Asda's had this exact problem with crisps. It's not even the second time. It's a pattern that keeps repeating. Employees say the crisp packaging lines are where a lot of mix-ups happen because of how production is set up. Different flavors get packed in the same facility, using the same equipment, sometimes on the same day. And when cleaning protocols aren't followed properly between batches, when staff is rushing to meet production targets, when quality checks get skipped because there aren't enough people to do them properly, the wrong crisps end up in the wrong bags. For seniors with allergies, these mistakes aren't just annoying, they're dangerous. Your body's histamine response might be stronger than it used to be. What was once a mild allergic reaction in your 40s could now be severe in your 70s. Your body doesn't regulate inflammation as well. Your immune system overreacts more easily. And here's what really gets me. These are premium products, extra special line. You're paying more, sometimes double the price of regular crisps for supposedly higher quality, for better ingredients, for more careful production. And you're getting packaging errors that could put you in the hospital. You're getting the same quality control failures as the budget products, except you're paying extra for the privilege. Number 6. Asda. Own brand products with unclear sources. Asda doesn't want you to know this, but it has thousands of own brand products across every category. Their Savers line is for budget shoppers. Their main Asda brand is for everyday items. Their extra special range for premium options. But here's the question employees ask themselves every day. Where do those ingredients actually come from? After Brexit, supply chains got complicated. Import rules changed. Standards shifted. Border checks got more complex. And when companies are under financial pressure like Asda is, when they're dealing with £700 million in annual finance costs from their leverage buyout, when they're cutting jobs and closing services and trying to stay profitable, they look for ways to cut expenses wherever they can. One of the easiest ways to do that, switch to cheaper ingredients from suppliers with lower standards. Use meat from animals raised with more antibiotics. Buy produce from farms that use pesticides banned in other countries. Source oils and fats that contain trans fats or other ingredients that increase your heart disease risk. Employees say they've seen quality decline noticeably in own brand products over the past few years. Things don't taste the same. The texture is different. Meat is tougher or fattier. Produce goes bad faster. And when you ask questions about ingredient sourcing, about where things come from, the answers get vague. Management doesn't want to talk about it. For seniors on fixed incomes who buy economy brands to save money, who rely on Savers products to stretch their pension, this matters enormously. If you're eating these products every day, multiple times a day, you deserve to know what's in them. You deserve to know if the meat comes from animals treated with growth hormones, if the vegetables were sprayed with chemicals linked to Parkinson's disease, if the processed foods contain preservatives that cause inflammation. Asda doesn't provide that level of transparency. And when they recently had to recall their Savers salad cream, because it contained undeclared egg and mustard that could kill someone with severe allergies, it proved that their quality control on own brand products is seriously lacking. Number 5. Any product approaching its use. By date. This is something employees see constantly, and it terrifies them. Don't buy products that are close to their uses by date at Asda. Just don't. Not even if the date says it's still good for 2 or 3 more days. Why? Asda got fined £250,000 for selling 18 items past their use-by date at one store. Despite previous warnings from food safety inspectors, they got fined another £410,000 for 62 expired products at 2 other stores, and those are just the times they got caught. That's not bad luck. That's not an occasional mistake. That's a systemic failure in date management that tells you their entire inventory control system is broken. Employees say the problem starts at multiple levels. First, there aren't enough people to properly rotate stock. When deliveries come in, they're supposed to move older products to the front and put new products in the back. But when you're short-staffed, when you've got one person trying to do the work of 3, that doesn't happen consistently. Second, managers push staff to get products on shelves fast, even if that means not checking dates carefully. Speed becomes more important than safety. Getting the aisle restocked before customers complain becomes the priority, not making sure everything is still fresh. Third, older products that should be pulled and discarded just sit there until someone either buys them or an inspector finds them. There's no automated system flagging items approaching expiration. There's no daily walkthrough pulling outdated stock. It only happens when someone specifically thinks to check. For seniors, buying products close to their date is risky at any store, but it's especially risky at Asda, given their documented track record. If they've been caught multiple times selling expired food, if they've paid over £500,000 in fines for these violations, if food safety inspectors have warned them repeatedly and the problems continue, how confident can you be that the date on the package you're holding is accurate? How confident are you that the product hasn't been sitting in a warm delivery truck longer than it should have, or that it wasn't left out at room temperature during restocking? That someone didn't accidentally print the wrong date on the label? Employees say they personally avoid products with dates less than 3 days out, even if the label technically says they're still good. They've seen too many problems. They know what happens behind the scenes. They don't trust it anymore. Number 4, ready-to-eat items aimed at children. Number 4, and this is the one that should really make you furious because it involves the most vulnerable. In the Cornwall stores that got Asda fined £410,000, inspectors found children's yogurts that were almost 4 weeks past their expiration date. 4 weeks. Still on the shelf. Still in the chilled section. Still available for parents and grandparents to buy and give to their kids and grandkids. Think about that for a second. Someone stocking those shelves saw those yogurts every single day for a month and never pulled them. Someone doing inventory walked past them repeatedly and never flagged them. Customers probably picked them up, checked the date, and put them back over and over, and nobody from Asda noticed or cared enough to remove them. Employees say ready-to-eat items aimed at children are particularly concerning because parents and grandparents trust them completely. You grab a yogurt or a fruit pouch or a cheese string for your grandkid, thinking it's safe. The packaging is colourful and friendly. The marketing says it's healthy and nutritious. The brand is familiar, but behind the scenes, date management is failing catastrophically. Products aren't being rotated properly. Staff isn't checking expiration dates the way they should, and items that should have been thrown away weeks ago are still sitting there in the chilled section, slowly becoming more dangerous. For children and seniors, both groups with vulnerable immune systems, eating expired dairy products can cause severe illness. The bacteria load in expired yogurt, especially products that have been sitting weeks past their date, can lead to violent vomiting, intense diarrhea, high fever, and, in serious cases, infections that require hospitalization and IV antibiotics. The district judge who fined Asda said customers should be able to rely on stores to supply food that's safe to eat. He said that trust is fundamental to the relationship between supermarkets and shoppers. But clearly, based on the evidence, you cannot rely on that at Asda. The trust is broken. Number 3, reduced items from the clearance section. You've seen those yellow sticker bargains that seem like great deals, but they can make you sick. Employees say they never ever buy reduced items from Asda's clearance section. Never. Not even when something is marked down 70%. Not even. when it looks fine and smells fine. Why? Because the products getting reduced are often the ones that are closest to expiration or have been sitting on shelves the longest. And given Asda's well-documented problems with date management, given their fines for selling expired food, given their recalls for incorrect date labels, that clearance chicken or that markdown sandwich could already be past its safe point regardless of what the sticker says. The yellow sticker system is supposed to help reduce food waste while giving customers deals on products that are still safe but need to sell quickly. But when a company is regularly caught selling expired food, when date labels can't be trusted, when quality control is failing at every level, those clearance items become high-risk purchases. For seniors trying to stretch their pension, trying to make their money last until the next payment comes, those reduced prices look incredibly tempting. You see a roast chicken marked down from £6 to £3, and you think you're getting an amazing deal. You see sandwiches reduced from £4 to £1, and you grab several. But what you might actually be getting is food that's been sitting under heat lamps too long, or that was cooked yesterday and should have been thrown out this morning, or that's been in the fridge past the point where it's safe to eat, but nobody pulled it because staff is too busy with other tasks. Employees say the clearance section is where all the problems accumulate. It's the last stop before disposal, and not everything that should be disposed of actually makes it there. Things that should go straight into the bin end up getting a yellow sticker instead because throwing away food looks bad on waste metrics that managers get judged on. Number 2. Fresh meat and fish counter items. This is the crazy one, the fresh counters. And this is something employees really don't want you to know because it affects their jobs. Asda announced they're closing 35 meat counters and 35 fish counters across their stores. That means fewer trained butchers and fishmongers, fewer people who actually know how to properly handle fresh protein, and fewer staff members checking for quality and freshness throughout the day. Employees say the fresh counters were already struggling badly before the closures were announced. Staff was stretched impossibly thin. Products weren't always rotated properly because there weren't enough hands to do it. Temperature controls were sometimes questionable because monitoring equipment wasn't being checked as often as it should be. Now, with closures happening and the company pushing to move everything into pre-packaged sections, the quality is getting noticeably worse. Pre-packaged meat and fish sit longer on shelves. They have less oversight because there's no dedicated person watching them all day. They're handled by fewer people with less specialized training in protein handling. Seniors who used to rely on the butcher counter for properly trimmed meat, for cuts prepared exactly how you need them, for fish that was filleted fresh that morning, this is a huge loss. And it's also a serious safety concern that goes beyond just quality and convenience. Fresh protein requires extremely careful temperature management throughout the entire supply chain. If it gets too warm at any point, even for just 15 or 20 minutes, bacteria multiply exponentially fast. And with Asda's recent supply chain issues, including that ransomware attack on their logistics provider in November that disrupted warehouse operations, there are serious, legitimate questions about whether cold chain integrity is being maintained from supplier to store. Employees say they buy their meat and fish elsewhere now. They go to proper butchers or fishmongers or different supermarkets. They don't trust what's happening behind the scenes at Asda anymore, and they're the ones who see it every day. Number 1. Any product during staff shortages and high turnover. This is the one that ties absolutely everything together and explains why all these other problems exist. Employees say don't buy anything from Asda during periods of staff shortages and high turnover. And right now, that's not just some of the time. That's all the time. That's the constant reality at Asda stores across the UK. Asda made 475 head office employees redundant in late 2024 without any consultation period. Just fired them. They're planning thousands more job cuts across stores. They're closing cafes, florists, meat counters, fish counters, and pharmacies. Store managers are leaving in droves. Turnover among retail managers increased by almost 14% in a single year. Why does any of this matter for food safety? Why should you care about Asda's employment problems? Because when a company is hemorrhaging employees like this, when the people who know the systems and procedures are leaving or getting fired, when new staff doesn't get proper training because there's nobody left to train them, mistakes multiply at every single level. Dates don't get checked, stock doesn't get rotated, temperature monitoring gets skipped, Quality control fails completely. Employees who are still there who haven't left or been fired yet say morale is absolutely terrible. They're working with skeleton crews trying to run entire stores. They're expected to do the jobs of 2 or 3 people. They're under constant pressure to work faster while also being told to maintain standards. And when you're that stretched, when you're that stressed, when you're that overwhelmed, food safety becomes a lower priority than just surviving the shift and getting home. The toxic work culture that employees describe, the fire and rehire tactics where Asda laid people off and then hired them back on worse contracts, the stagnant wages that haven't kept up with inflation, the lack of support from management who are themselves under pressure from the private equity owners, all of that creates an environment where corners get cut everywhere. And you're the one eating the consequences of those cut corners, literally eating them. When inspectors find expired food on shelves despite repeated warnings, when recalls keep happening for completely preventable packaging errors, when fines keep piling up for violations that should never occur in the first place, that tells you everything you need to know about what's happening inside Asda right now. The system is broken, the culture is broken, and your safety is not their priority anymore. Look, I'm not saying you have to boycott Asda completely, but I am saying you need to be way more careful when you shop there. Check every single date, read every label twice. If something seems even slightly off, don't buy it. For seniors especially, food safety isn't negotiable. One bad product could put you in the hospital for weeks. Is saving a few pence worth that risk? Employees are telling you what they see behind the scenes. Listen to them. They know which products have problems. They know where the system is failing. And they're choosing not to buy certain items for very good reasons. If this video opened your eyes, share it with friends who shop at Asda. Drop a comment. Have you had bad experiences with Asda products? And if you want more videos exposing what's really happening at UK supermarkets, hit subscribe.